The morning light cut through the massive recycling complex like a surgeon's blade, revealing a landscape of organized chaos. Towering structures of reclaimed metal and composite materials rose against the backdrop of a recovering Earth, a testament to humanity's resilience. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood on the observation deck, her dark eyes scanning the intricate network of conveyor systems, molecular separators, and advanced processing units that transformed what was once considered waste into the lifeblood of human survival. A holographic display flickered to life beside her, projecting the day's processing metrics. Each number represented more than just statistics. They were a narrative of human innovation. 17,000 metric tons of previously discarded materials would be completely repurposed today. Microchips extracted from ancient electronics, rare earth elements pulled from forgotten landfills, carbon fibers reclaimed from decades-old composite materials. Dr. Rodriguez, a voice called from behind her. Marcus Chen, her lead operations engineer, approached with a datapad in hand. His worn but meticulously maintained work jacket told a story of years spent on the front lines of human reconstruction. The new separation algorithm you developed last month just hit another milestone. We're extracting 34% more usable materials from the same input volume. Elena allowed herself a slight smile, rare for someone who had spent the last decade fighting against the near-total environmental collapse that had nearly extinguished human civilization. Her team at the Terran Salvage Corporation wasn't just managing waste. They were rewriting the fundamental approach to resource management. The complex around them was more than a recycling facility. It was a cathedral of human determination, built from the ruins of ecological disaster. 30 years ago, the world had teetered on the brink of total environmental breakdown. Massive resource depletion, climate instability, and decades of unsustainable consumption had pushed humanity to the edge of extinction. But from that precipice, a new approach had emerged, one that viewed every discarded item not as waste, but as an opportunity. Marcus pulled up a series of schematics on the holographic display. The latest molecular separation technique is showing promising results in extracting rare metals from electronic waste. We're looking at a 42% increase in retrieval efficiency compared to last year's models. Elena's mind was already racing ahead. Each improvement wasn't just about recovering resources. It was about understanding the fundamental potential locked within seemingly worthless materials. Her background in materials science, environmental engineering, and advanced computational modeling had positioned her as a leading innovator in what had become humanity's most critical industry. The facility hummed with activity. Robotic systems moved with precision, guided by advanced artificial intelligence that could identify and process materials at a molecular level. Massive sorting chambers used quantum-enhanced spectral analysis to separate materials with unprecedented accuracy. What once required entire industrial complexes could now be accomplished in a fraction of the space and time. "We've got a new challenge coming in," Marcus continued, his fingers swiping through additional data. A decommissioned offshore wind farm from the early 2030s. Preliminary scans suggest we can extract enough rare earth elements to produce components for 3 next-generation energy storage systems. Elena walked closer to the window, watching the intricate dance of machinery below. Each piece of equipment told a story of human adaptation. The robotic sorting arms had been developed from repurposed manufacturing systems. The molecular separation units incorporated technologies originally designed for space exploration. Nothing was ever truly discarded, only transformed. Her thoughts drifted to the global network of similar facilities that now formed the backbone of human industrial capacity. From the reclaimed industrial zones of the American Midwest to the transformed urban centers of Southeast Asia, humanity had learned its most critical lesson. Sustainability was not just an environmental strategy, but a fundamental approach to survival. "Prepare a full analysis of the wind farm components," Elena said, her voice steady and focused. "I want a comprehensive breakdown of every potential application, and flag anything that might have potential applications beyond our current technological understanding." Marcus nodded, already sending commands to the facility's research division. Another day began at the Terran Salvage Corporation. Another day of turning the world's discarded past into humanity's innovative future. Outside, the recovering landscape of Earth stretched to the horizon, a living testament to human resilience, creativity, and the unyielding belief that from the smallest fragment, something extraordinary could be built. The asteroid mining vessel Horizon Breaker drifted silently through the sparse asteroid belt of the Kepler-62 system, its hull a masterpiece of modular engineering. Captain Aria Santos stood at the command deck, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces that seemed to breathe with the ship's own intelligence. Unlike the massive, rigid spacecraft of previous centuries, the Horizon Breaker was a living system, each component capable of being reconfigured, repaired, or replaced mid-mission. Preliminary scans complete, called out Lieutenant David Kumar from the sensor station. His voice carried a mix of professional calm and barely contained excitement. The Terran Salvage Corporation's mining expeditions were never routine, but something about this particular mission felt different. The ship's advanced sensor arrays, themselves constructed from recycled materials from 3 different decommissioned space stations, picked up an anomalous energy signature. At first, it appeared like a slight distortion in the fabric of local space, almost imperceptible to lesser detection systems. Magnifying Sector 7 Delta, Area commanded. The holographic display shifted, layers of data cascading like liquid light around her. What began as a minor energy fluctuation suddenly resolved into something extraordinary, a massive vessel that seemed to materialize from nothing. Its surface a complex geometric pattern that defied conventional understanding of spacecraft design. David's voice caught in his throat. "Captain, we're being scanned. It's unlike anything in our database." The alien vessel dwarfed the Horizon Breaker, its surface a mesmerizing blend of crystalline structures and what appeared to be living metallic compounds. Where human spacecraft were practical, adaptive, built from reclaimed materials, this ship looked like it had been grown rather than constructed. Elegant, pristine, with not a single element out of place. A communication signal pierced through their systems. The language was initially incomprehensible, a complex matrix of mathematical patterns and resonant frequencies. The ship's quantum translation matrix, developed by Elena Rodriguez's team, began to decode the transmission. Unidentified human vessel. The translation emerged, each word dripping with a mixture of curiosity and profound condescension. "You have entered a restricted zone of galactic importance." Aria exchanged a quick glance with David. Restricted zone. The asteroid belt they were mining had been carefully mapped and approved through international space exploration protocols. Their mission was simple: extract valuable minerals from asteroids that would otherwise drift uselessly through space. The alien communication continued. "Your method of resource extraction is primitive, inefficient, destructive." A holographic representation of the Vexnar communication officer materialized on the bridge. It was a being of impossible symmetry, crystalline features that seemed to shift and refract light, eyes that were more like complex computational arrays than organic vision points. Its body appeared to be constructed from the same material as its spacecraft. A living, thinking technological organism. "We represent the Vexnar Collective," the being stated. "Your presence in this sector is a violation of galactic resource management protocols." David's fingers flew across his interface, pulling up every scrap of data they had about the region. "Captain, our mining rights are completely legitimate. These asteroids were classified as open-access resource zones by the Interstellar Resource Management Treaty of 2056. The Vexnar representative seemed to find this amusing. If such a precise, mathematical being could experience amusement, treaties are meaningless. Your species' approach to resource management is an insult to advanced civilizations. You collect, you recycle, you survive. But you do not truly understand resource optimization. Aria felt a familiar surge of defiance. Humanity had clawed its way back from the brink of extinction, through precisely this approach: collecting, adapting, surviving. We're here to extract resources that would otherwise go unused, she responded, her voice steady. Every asteroid we process prevents waste. Every mineral we extract reduces the need for further environmental disruption. The holographic representation of the Vexnar seemed to shimmer with what might have been contempt. Waste? You speak of waste while your entire civilization is built upon the concept. We have been observing your species. Your ships are cobbled together from discarded materials. Your technologies are constantly rebuilt, repurposed. This is not advancement. This is desperation. Lieutenant Kumar's sensor readings began to show increased energy buildup around the alien vessel. Weapon systems, communication jamming. The tension on the bridge became electric. You have 48 standard solar cycles to abandon this sector, the Vexnar communication concluded. Failure to comply will result in total removal of your technological capability. The transmission cut off. The massive alien vessel remained, a silent threat hanging in the starry void. Aria looked at David, a slight smile playing at the corner of her mouth. Well, she said, this just got interesting. The Terran Salvage Corporation's primary research facility buzzed with an intensity that bordered on controlled chaos. Large holographic displays covered every wall, each one filled with fragments of data captured from the brief encounter with the Vexnar vessel. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of a circular data projection, her mind already dissecting every millisecond of the interaction. This isn't just a technological challenge, she muttered, more to herself than to the team surrounding her. It's a complete paradigm of resource understanding. Dr. Kamal Nasser, the corporation's lead xenotechnology analyst, manipulated the holographic data with precise hand movements. Snippets of the alien communication, sensor readings, and spectral analysis danced around them like a three-dimensional puzzle waiting to be solved. Look at their energy signatures, Camille pointed out. A complex web of interconnected energy patterns materialized in the hologram. Their technological infrastructure isn't just advanced, it's organically integrated. Each system doesn't just communicate with others. It's almost like a living organism. Elena nodded, her mind already several steps ahead. The Vexnar weren't just technologically superior. They represented a fundamentally different approach to technological development. Where humanity saw potential in discarded materials, the Vexnar seemed to view resources as something to be consumed and discarded completely. We need a comprehensive analysis, she announced to the team. Break down every single data point from the encounter. I want to know how they process resources, how their communication systems work, and most importantly, where their technological approach might have inherent weaknesses. The research team was a diverse group of specialists, each one representing a different approach to problem solving. There was Dr. Aisha Wong, an expert in quantum computational systems, her fingers already creating complex predictive models. Marcus Chen stood nearby, analyzing the structural compositions of the alien vessel's scanned materials. Their ship's outer layer, Marcus called out, bringing up a magnified holographic representation. It's not just a protective shell. It's a complete system of energy collection, processing, and redistribution. Look how each molecular structure seems to interact with surrounding energy fields. Dr. Wong zoomed in further. It's more like a living membrane than a traditional spacecraft hull. Traditional concepts of material science don't even begin to describe what we're seeing here. Elena watched the analysis unfold, her mind connecting disparate pieces of information. The Vexnar represented the ultimate expression of resource-focused technological development, a civilization that had seemingly optimized every single aspect of their technological existence. But optimization, she realized, came with its own critical vulnerabilities. Camille, she said suddenly, pull up our historical data on complex technological systems. I want to see every documented instance of systemic failure in highly optimized networks. The holographic display shifted. Historical data from various technological collapses began to populate the space. Everything from early 21st century cryptocurrency network failures to the Dr. Rodriguez's strategy was becoming clear. Instead of a direct confrontation, they were going to understand the Vexnar so completely that they could identify and exploit the most fundamental weaknesses in their technological approach. A sudden alert flashed across Olivia's primary display. "I found something," she called out, her voice a mixture of excitement and concentration. "There's a recurring pattern in their long-range communication frequencies. It's not just a transmission. It's like a central nervous system for their entire communication network." Marcus leaned in, his eyes scanning the complex data patterns. "It's a centralized routing system," he realized. "Every communication, every data transfer, every technological command seems to flow through these specific frequency bands." Olivia began overlaying additional datasets, historical records of Vexnar technological expansions, intercepted communication fragments, energy signature analyses. A complete picture began to emerge. "They're efficient," she said, "but efficiency comes with a price. Centralization creates vulnerability." The team worked with a sense of purpose that went beyond mere technological challenge. This was about proving that humanity's approach, adaptive, resourceful, always looking for potential in the most unexpected places, could stand against what seemed like insurmountable technological superiority. As the day drew to a close, Olivia looked at the massive communication network they had been mapping. What had once seemed like an impenetrable alien communication system was now revealing its secrets. "We're ready," she told Marcus, a slight smile crossing her face. "We're going to show them what human innovation really looks like." The advanced prototype lab resembled nothing so much as a controlled chaos of human innovation. Holographic displays danced with complex algorithms, while workstations built from repurposed technology hummed with an almost living energy. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of this creative maelstrom, her latest creation taking shape before her eyes. "The systemic resonance algorithm isn't a weapon," she explained to her core team. "It's a technological ecosystem disruptor." Dr. Kamal Nasser approached the central holographic display, his fingers tracing the intricate design. "We're essentially creating a computational parasite," he mused, "something that doesn't destroy, but transforms." The algorithm was a masterpiece of adaptive engineering. Where traditional technological attacks would seek to break or destroy, this approach was far more nuanced. It would interact with the Vexnar communication and resource management systems, introducing subtle modifications that would gradually unravel their entire technological infrastructure. Marcus Chen pulled up a series of simulation results. "Look at how it propagates," he said, excitement building in his voice. "Each transmission point becomes a potential point of systemic transformation. It's not attacking the system, it's rewriting its fundamental operating principles." The team had spent months studying every intercepted fragment of Vexnar communication. They understood now that the alien civilization's greatest strength was also its most critical vulnerability. Their technological systems were so perfectly optimized, so completely integrated, that any fundamental disruption would cascade through their entire infrastructure. Dr. Aisha Wong demonstrated a simulation on the main display. "Traditional viral systems would be detected and isolated immediately," she explained. "But this algorithm doesn't just infiltrate. It adapts, it learns, it becomes part of the system." The systemic resonance algorithm was built from the most unexpected collection of technologies. Quantum communication protocols developed for deep-sea research. Adaptive learning systems originally created for environmental restoration projects. Molecular reconfiguration technologies from advanced recycling processes. Each component had been carefully selected, modified, and integrated into a complex technological ecosystem that defied traditional understanding of computational systems. "We're not just creating a method of attack," Elena said, her eyes reflecting the complex holographic displays. "We're demonstrating a completely different approach to technological development." The algorithm began as a series of seemingly innocuous data packets. It would introduce microscopic modifications to communication protocols, resource allocation systems, and technological infrastructure. Each modification was so subtle, so precisely calculated, that the Vexnar systems would barely register the changes. But over time, these modifications would accumulate. Like water slowly wearing away stone, the algorithm would gradually transform the fundamental operating principles of an entire technological civilization. The key is non-destruction, Marcus emphasized. We're not breaking their systems. We're showing them a different way of existing. Simulation after simulation confirmed their approach. The algorithm would spread through the Vexnar communication networks like a living system, introducing adaptability where there was only rigid optimization. It would transform resource allocation protocols, communication pathways, and technological infrastructure. Dr. Wong pulled up a comparative analysis. Look at how their systems respond to traditional computational challenges, she said. Absolute efficiency, but zero adaptability. Our algorithm introduces controlled chaos, the ability to learn, to modify, to survive. As the day progressed, the team continued refining their creation. Each team member brought a unique perspective: materials science, quantum computing, communication theory, environmental restoration. They were doing more than developing a technological solution. They were demonstrating humanity's most powerful capability: the ability to see potential where others saw only limitation. Elena looked at the final simulation results. The systemic resonance algorithm was more than a technological tool. It was a philosophical statement about the nature of technological development. "We're ready," she announced to the team. "Prepare for deployment." The room fell silent, the weight of their achievement hanging in the air. They had created something unprecedented, a technological solution that didn't seek to destroy, but to transform. A testament to humanity's most fundamental strength, the ability to adapt, to find potential in the most unexpected places. The void of space erupted with a silent violence as the Vexnar battle fleet emerged from quantum transit. Hundreds of vessels, each a perfect geometric marvel of technological precision, formed a massive arrowhead formation that could obliterate entire star systems. Their arrival was announced not by sound, but by a systematic disruption of local spacetime that made navigation systems tremble. Captain Aria Santos stood on the bridge of the Horizon Breaker, her command team a model of calculated preparation. Unlike the rigid military formations of previous centuries, their fleet was a living, adaptive network. Each human vessel could reconfigure its systems mid-battle, swap out damaged components, and redistribute energy with a fluidity that defied traditional combat strategies. "Incoming transmission," Lieutenant David Kumar announced. The holographic display filled with the crystalline form of the Vexnar communication officer. "Your 48 solar cycles have expired," the alien representative stated. "Prepare for complete technological neutralization." Aria allowed herself a slight smile. "We're prepared," she responded, her voice calm and steady. The first wave of Vexnar attack was a mathematical precision of destruction. Energy beams that could slice through planetary crusts targeted the human fleet with impossible accuracy. But something unexpected happened. Where traditional military forces would have been instantly decimated, the human vessels began to shift and adapt. Damaged sections of ships were immediately reconfigured. Modular combat systems redistributed energy with lightning speed. What the Vexnar saw as a primitive fleet of recycled technology was actually a living, breathing technological ecosystem. "Systemic resonance algorithm is online," David reported. The first tendrils of the algorithm began to infiltrate the Vexnar communication networks. It wasn't an attack in any traditional sense. It was a systematic rewriting of technological infrastructure. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's voice came through the communication systems. "Watch their communication pathways," she instructed. "We're not fighting. We're transforming." The Vexnar initially responded with overwhelming force. Their initial attack should have destroyed the human fleet 100 times over. Instead, something extraordinary began to happen. The human vessels began to not just survive, but to adapt. Damaged sections were immediately reconstructed using modular technologies. Energy systems redistributed with a fluidity that seemed almost organic. Where the Vexnar expected total destruction, they encountered a fleet that seemed to learn and grow with each moment of conflict. Their attack patterns are becoming predictable. Marcus Chen's voice came through the communication systems. The systemic resonance algorithm was doing its work, introducing subtle modifications to the Vexnar's combat protocols, making their once perfect strategies increasingly ineffective. The human fleet wasn't just defending. They were demonstrating a completely different approach to technological conflict. Each vessel was more than a weapon. It was a learning system, capable of adapting in real time. Arya watched as the Vexnar battle formations began to break down. Their communication networks, once a marvel of perfect integration, started to show microscopic inefficiencies. Transmission delays of mere milliseconds began to compound, creating cascading system failures. "They can't comprehend what's happening," David observed. The Vexnar vessels began to move with increasing uncertainty. Their perfect geometric formations started to fracture, their once precise attack vectors becoming increasingly erratic. The systemic resonance algorithm was doing more than disrupting systems. It was introducing a fundamental concept the Vexnar had never encountered: the ability to learn, to adapt, to find potential in limitation. "We're not destroying them." Elena's voice came through clearly. "We're showing them a different way of existing." Hour after hour, the battle continued. But it wasn't a traditional conflict. It was a philosophical demonstration of technological approach. The human fleet continued to adapt, to reconfigure, to find solutions where the Vexnar saw only problems. As the final hours of the confrontation approached, something extraordinary happened. The Vexnar vessels began to change, not through destruction, but through a fundamental transformation of their own technological understanding. Arya looked at her team. They hadn't just fought a battle. They had started a technological revolution. "Prepare final algorithm transmission," she commanded. "Let's show them what human innovation really looks like." The Vexnar home system looked like a crystalline wound in the fabric of space. Massive computational structures that had once represented the pinnacle of technological achievement now began to unravel in ways their creators could never have anticipated. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Horizon Breaker, watching as the systemic resonance algorithm completed its most intricate transformation. "It's not destruction," she explained to Captain Arya Santos. "It's a complete reimagining of technological potential." The algorithm had moved beyond simple infiltration. It was now actively rewriting the fundamental communication and resource management protocols of an entire civilization. Where the Vexnar had seen their systems as perfect and immutable, humanity introduced the concept of adaptive potential. Quantum communication networks began to shift. Resource allocation systems that had been rigid for millennia started to show unprecedented flexibility. The Vexnar were experiencing something entirely new: the ability to learn, to adapt, to see potential where they had previously seen only established patterns. On the primary communication hub of the Vexnar central system, something extraordinary happened. The first signs of true adaptation began to emerge. Communication pathways that had been locked in perfect, unchanging patterns for generations started to show microscopic variations. Each variation was a testament to the transformative power of the systemic resonance algorithm. Dr. Kamil Nasser monitored the data streams, his eyes wide with scientific wonder. "Look at how their systems are responding," he said, pointing to complex holographic displays. "They're not just being disrupted, they're learning." The transformation was unlike any technological intervention in known history. The human team wasn't destroying the Vexnar technological infrastructure. They were showing an entirely different approach to technological development, one based on adaptability, potential, and continuous transformation. Marcus Chen pulled up comparative analyses. "Their resource management systems are beginning to show characteristics we've developed in our recycling technologies," he observed. "They're starting to see value where they previously saw only waste." Massive computational structures that had once represented absolute technological efficiency began to change. Rigid communication networks started to develop adaptive pathways. Resource allocation systems that had been locked in perfect, unchanging patterns for millennia began to show flexibility. The Vexnar leadership, if such a term could be applied to their collective consciousness, began to experience something unprecedented. Their perfectly optimized systems were developing the ability to learn, to adapt, to see potential in limitation. "We're not conquering," Elena explained to her team. "We're demonstrating a completely different approach to technological existence." Hour by hour, the transformation continued. The systemic resonance algorithm worked its way through every level of Vexnar technological infrastructure. What had begun as a defensive strategy was becoming a fundamental philosophical intervention. Communication systems that had been locked in perfect mathematical patterns began to show signs of true adaptation. Resource management protocols started to develop the kind of flexible thinking that had allowed humanity to survive near total ecological collapse. "They're beginning to understand," Captain Santos observed. The Vexnar communication networks were no longer sending messages of threat and superiority. Instead, they were showing genuine curiosity, genuine potential for understanding. Dr. Aisha Wong monitored the quantum communication pathways. "Look at how their systems are changing," she said. "They're developing something close to creativity. The ability to see potential where they previously saw only established patterns." As the final stages of the algorithmic transformation approached, something profound became clear. This wasn't a conquest. It was a technological revelation. The Vexnar were experiencing the fundamental principle that had allowed humanity to survive. The ability to see potential in the most unexpected places. Their perfectly optimized systems were learning to adapt, to reconfigure, to find value in what they had previously considered worthless. Elena looked at her team. They had done more than win a conflict. They had introduced an entirely new way of understanding technological potential. "Prepare final transformation sequence," she instructed. "Let's show them what true innovation looks like." The systemic resonance algorithm pulsed through the Vexnar systems, not as a weapon, but as a profound technological embrace. Humanity was offering something far more valuable than conquest. They were offering a new way of existing. 6 standard galactic cycles after the transformation, the Terran Salvage Corporation's primary research facility became something more than a technological hub. It was now a meeting point of civilizations, a testament to humanity's most profound capability, the ability to see potential where others saw only limitation. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a delegation of Vexnar representatives, their crystalline forms now displaying subtle variations that spoke of newfound adaptability. The communication chamber had been redesigned, no longer a place of rigid protocols, but a space of collaborative potential. "You're beginning to understand," Elena said, her voice calm and measured. "Resources aren't just materials to be consumed. They're opportunities waiting to be transformed." The Vexnar representative, once a being of perfect geometric precision, now showing subtle asymmetries that spoke of individual potential, responded. Its communication was no longer a mathematical transmission, but something closer to genuine dialogue. "We misunderstood," the representative acknowledged. "Optimization is not perfection. Adaptation is the true measure of technological intelligence." Marcus Chen pulled up a holographic display showing the remarkable transformation. Entire Vexnar systems that had once been locked in rigid efficiency were now developing adaptive technologies. Resource management protocols that had been unchanged for millennia now showed remarkable flexibility. Dr. Kamil Nasser explained the broader implications. "It's not just about technological development," he told the assembled researchers and diplomats. "It's about a fundamental shift in understanding. Every limitation is an opportunity. Every piece of discarded material contains potential." The transformation extended far beyond the Vexnar technological systems. Other galactic civilizations began to study the remarkable intervention. What had appeared to be a conflict had become a profound technological and philosophical revolution. Captain Aria Santos stood nearby, watching the diplomatic exchange. The Horizon Breaker, once a symbol of human resourcefulness, was now part of a collaborative research initiative. Vexnar and human engineers worked side by side, developing technologies that combined the best of both approaches. "We didn't conquer," Elena explained to a group of visiting xenoanthropologists. "We demonstrated a different way of existing. Our entire civilization was built on finding potential in what others considered worthless." The research facility had become a living demonstration of this philosophy. Walls constructed from recycled materials from a dozen different planets. Communication systems that adapted in real time. Learning technologies that saw every challenge as an opportunity for growth. Dr. Aisha Wong presented a series of collaborative technological developments. Quantum communication systems that could adapt to multiple species communication protocols. Resource management technologies that could transform waste into valuable materials with unprecedented efficiency. "Look at what we've created together," she said, pointing to a holographic display of their joint technological achievements. The Vexnar delegation reflected on their transformed understanding. Their perfectly optimized systems had been their greatest limitation. Humanity had shown them something profound. That true intelligence is not about perfection, but about the ability to adapt, to learn, to see potential in the most unexpected places. "We were trapped," the Vexnar representative acknowledged. "Our optimization was a form of stagnation. You showed us that true technological advancement is about continuous transformation." Elena looked out over the research facility, a testament to human innovation. What had begun as a struggle for survival on a dying Earth had become a galactic philosophy of potential. Every piece of discarded material, every seemingly insurmountable challenge, was an opportunity waiting to be discovered. The assembled researchers represented a new approach to galactic civilization, not a competition of technological superiority, but a collaborative exploration of potential. Vexnar engineers worked alongside human researchers, developing technologies that neither civilization could have imagined alone. "From rubbish to ruin," Marcus Chen said quietly, echoing the original mission of the Terran Salvage Corporation. "We've shown that everything has potential. Nothing is truly waste." As the day concluded, the research facility hummed with a new kind of energy. It wasn't just a technological hub. It was a living demonstration of humanity's most profound capability, the ability to transform, to adapt, to see potential where others saw only limitation. The universe had changed, and it all began with the simple belief that nothing is ever truly worthless.